the best in college rock.
Hey, good afternoon, Raider Nation. Welcome back to The Perspective. I am Parker Testa, your host here on WWSU 106.9. Thank you for joining us this week. We have a lot to get into. So we're talking some MLB, some Masters, whole lot going on this week. So can't thank you enough for joining us. So let's get started here. We got MLB baseball going on. And one thing that I'm going to get into with baseball for a second here is how much of really a clown that Rob Manfred is. Because this Castellanos suspension, the suspension of Nick Castellanos with the Reds, 2 games for literally flexing on the pitcher is really ridiculous because it's stupid. I mean, Joe Kelly got suspended for 8 games last year for making a sad face at Carlos Correa. Really? Are you kidding me? And then Nick Castellanos comes out and just literally flexes on the pitcher because he's excited that he scored a run. And you're gonna suspend it for 2 games, but the Astros literally orchestrated a whole cheating scandal and won a World Series because of it. And there's no punishment. Are you kidding me? And this just goes to show how soft Rob Manfred is, quite frankly, because it shows that you can orchestrate a whole scandal. And yeah, sure, AJ Hinch got fired and whatever that clown GM's name was got fired. But still, none of the players who involved were suspended. It's just ridiculous to me. I don't get it. We have a joke here at the station between me and Shay Neal that just says he's Rob Clownfred. It's who he is. Don't even get me started. This is not over. I'm going to complain about this for as long as I have to live my life because it's just ridiculous. We are streaming on Facebook today. Go search my name on Facebook, Parker Testa on Facebook. You will see that stream. Just excited to get that started. I know you can actually, it's probably not very flattering to see my face on air, so you probably might want to stick to listening on radio, but glad to be on Facebook, glad to bring you our content as many different ways as we can. So let me pull up here, actually. We're going to get into some actual MLB talk because baseball's a lot of fun, and it's fun to watch baseball, and I left you guys with that last week. I said, get out there and watch some baseball because it's fun, and it is fun because just baseball's just fun to watch. There's no other way to put it. And it was a great weekend in baseball. Last weekend, the Yankees dropped 2 of 3 to the Blue Jays, which made my heart so happy because, quite frankly, I hate the Yankees. So it made me happy to see the Yankees lose last weekend. And it made me happy to see Hyun-Shin Ryu pitch well because he is one of my starters on my fantasy team, the Ryu Jays. And we are going to win this fantasy league. Shay, I don't care what you talk about. We are going to win this. So, we have lots or not as many games. Well, actually, there's lots of games going on today. The Nationals and the Dodgers are on at 4:10 p.m. Eastern. The Yankees and the Rays are about to start, actually. Rockies and Giants are on at 4:35 out in San Francisco. The Angels and the Blue Jays are on at 7 o'clock tonight. How about the Angels, man? They get out to a 5-2 start here early in the year. Unbelievable start for Joe Madden and the Angels. They're really fun to watch. We'll talk about it with Tom Nichols coming up here in a few minutes. But we just talked about how baseball's changed, and it's for the worse because you just sit around and you wait for a home run to happen. There's nothing really exciting or anything like that going on. So you sit around and you wait for a home run to happen. There's no bloop single past the second baseman to get it going. There's no RBI double into the center field gap. There's no triple to score 3 runs. There's none of that. There's and that's what's fun about baseball is that exciting is the build up to really a build up to a home run. That's the exciting part about it. So it's not really fun to watch baseball anymore. Yeah, the pitchers are throwing harder than ever, and I've seen lots of nasty curveballs. But baseball's it's not a whole lot of fun to watch anymore. It's all about exit velocity and launch angle and how hard you can throw your four-seam fastball. So it's really not fun to watch. So it's baseball needs to bring that back. And I honestly think that's another thing that can be blamed on Rob Manfred is just it's ridiculous. So there needs to be changes. I think baseball can make changes to make their content better and what they put out to their fans better. Because what are kids watching nowadays? What are kids watching? They're watching LeBron James. They're watching Steph Curry. They're watching basketball. They're watching football. And how oftentimes do you see an 8, 9, 10-year-old kid wearing a Mike Trout jersey? How oftentimes do you see those kids wearing Aaron Judge jerseys or anything like that? You don't. And it's sad because I'm a baseball fan. There's so many baseball fans out there. And baseball's really dying, to be honest with you. I think baseball's dying, and it's sad to watch because I love baseball, and there are many people that love baseball. So I want to see that come back. I want to see have a sort of a resurgence with baseball. But we'll get back into some baseball action going on this week. The Angels look very good, like I said. How about the Cincinnati Reds? I mean, we've talked about this all week here at the station. The Reds are looking fantastic. Their pitching is hot. Nick Castellanos is very good. And who's the other? Tyler Naquin is fantastic. He comes off the bench for David Bell, and it's awesome. I mean, I think David Bell is managing his bullpen a lot well than he did than he has in previous years. Looks a lot better. Jonathan India gets the start. I think it's his rookie year, and he's playing very well. He's batting .470 with 10 RBIs. Thank you, Shay. And they're playing really well, and it's something that's exciting for Reds fans. And it's just exciting to see baseball back. So really excited for that, to have baseball back. Let's move into some NBA action here. The Pacers are awful. They're just awful. It's sad because I love the Pacers, and I'm looking right into the camera. If you're on Facebook right now, the Pacers are terrible. They are not good. They have no defense whatsoever. They can't shoot, and it's sad when T.J. McConnell is your best player. Let's just put it at that. I'm going to use a quote from Justin Kinner that he used on his show the other day. If you listen to the Justin Kinner show here on ESPN Dayton, he used this term when talking about Joe Burrow and the Bengals, but I'm going to use it with the Pacers. So, like when you're ugly and a hot girl gives you attention, the Pacers fans are the hot girl right now, and the Pacers are really ugly. It's just being honest. That's what it is right now. And they're not fun to watch. They can't shoot. Why they traded Victor Oladipo, I have no idea. Yes, he wanted to play in Miami. Great. Yay, Rod. Go fight, win. Go Victor. Have fun. I don't care. And the Pacers aren't putting out a nice product right now, quite frankly. This new coach, they call him New Nate Bjorkgren. I like him. He's had some good interviews. I like listening to him talk. I like how he coaches. He's just, I don't know, man. It's just sad. They're just awful. And that's not a thing that I'm fortunate to say about my teams that I like a lot, because my Dodgers, they're good. The Wright State teams here, a lot of them are good. The Colts, they're average, but they're up and coming. I think Carson Wentz can bring them back. But the Pacers are just bad. It's awful to watch, and it's really sad. So we got golf going on right now. Golf, the Masters down in Augusta, Georgia. I'm not a political person, and I'm just going to touch on this for a second. I know all of you has probably seen about that new law that came out in Georgia, which caused the MLB to pull the All-Star game. out of Atlanta, and people who wanted the Masters to come out of Augusta, Georgia. Quite frankly, you're an idiot. I can't put it any other way. The Masters and Augusta National Golf Club are like conjoined twins. You can't take them apart. And it's to people who said that last week. I pray for you, because it's you can't break up those two. So anyway, the Masters right now, their second round action going on right now down in Augusta. Justin Rose, how about Justin Rose? I think he birdied 3 of his last 6. He took the lead last night in the first round. So Justin Rose has the lead. He's done for the day. He's at 7 under. Mark Leishman, 5 under. Bernd Weisberger, I think that's how you say his name. He's in 3rd right now. There's that's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-way tie for 3rd at 4 under. So I know lots of people aren't golf fans. I know a lot of people think golf is boring to watch, but I disagree. I love golf. I'm a golf player, even though I'm terrible. I love golf, so I'll definitely catch up on the Masters coming up here this weekend. So lots of action going on all around the sports repertoire, I should say. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, our interview with Tom Nichols, Director of Media Relations for the Dayton Dragons. That is all that and more coming right up here on The Perspective, WWSU 106.9 FM.
The average time a resume.
Friday, April 9th through Monday, April 12th. Friday, mostly cloudy with a slight chance of thunderstorms, high in the mid-70s. Friday night, mostly cloudy with a slight chance of showers and thunderstorms. Sunday, a chance of showers with a high of around 60. Sunday night, mostly cloudy with a slight chance of showers, lower in the mid-40s. Monday, mostly sunny with a high around 70. Monday night, partly cloudy with a low in the mid-40s. Stay dry this weekend and rate her up.
If you love them enough to barely sleep, then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them?
By their clothes,
their age,
the way they speak.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 Food Banks Strong, and the Ad Council.
I love this song! I love nachos.
Loving everything? You might be buzzed.
You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzz warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
If you love them enough to turn off your music and pretend like their music is your music.
This is Mommy's jam.
Then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Let's play it again.
Check today at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, men and women from communities across this nation serve as Reserve Citizen Airmen.
I am proud to defend our nation.
Proud to be part of a team that helps make a difference.
I am proud to be part of something larger than me.
We celebrate those who have served and those who are proudly serving in the Air Force Reserve. Our mission is to fly, fight, and win in air, space, and cyberspace.
I am proud to be a member. I am proud to protect our...
Proud to serve in the U.S. Air Force Reserve.
AFReserve.com.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? Would you notice a 16-year-old boy who got his first job?
Not for extra spending money, but to help feed his little sisters?
Or a mother who's in between jobs and sometimes goes to bed hungry so her kids can have dinner? I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. I am hunger in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
America, your children have an amazing superpower. They can help save lives by not having play dates. That's right. By replacing get-togethers with virtual play dates and video chats, they can help slow the evil spread of germs. And if your superheroes do go outside, make sure they continue their superhero wing by staying 6 feet away from others to protect everyone in America land. Find out more at coronavirus.gov. A message from the CDC and the Ad Council. America, your children have an amazing superpower. That's right. They can help save lives by simply washing their hands. Just 20 seconds of thorough hand washing after they've coughed or sneezed or been outside can help fight against the dastardly spread of germs. Armed with only soap and water and hands, your superhero can protect you, your family, and everyone out there in America land. Amazing! Find out more at coronavirus.gov. A message from the CDC and the Ad Council.
Dad, I picked up your pills, made your lunch, and your laundry is done.
When you care for a loved one, you take care of everything. But are you taking care of yourself? Find free care guides at aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
If you love them enough to sit through their favorite boy band with them, then surely you'll check NHTSA.gov/the right seat to make sure they're correctly buckled in the back seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
To protect her home and family in a disaster, Karen was willing to wade through water, mud, and insurance paperwork.
Yeah, I can do this.
You go, Karen! By simply understanding and updating what her insurance covers and doesn't cover now, she'll be better prepared no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
My mother was very familiar with her neighborhood, but one day she stopped at the stop sign and she wasn't even really sure where she was at.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Hey, Dad, your prescription will be ready in just a minute. Hey, Dad, your laundry will be ready in just a minute. Dad, your lunch will be ready in just a minute.
Hey, honey, why don't you take a minute? When you help care for a loved one, you give them as much time as you can. But it's just as important to take time for yourself. AARP can help. Find free care guides to support you and your loved one at aarp.org/caregiving. That's aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hi, my name is Shaquila Graves. I am a theater major here at Wright State, and you are listening to WWSU 106.9 Dayton's Right Choice.
Welcome back to The Perspective, everybody, here on WWSU 106.9 FM. I am Parker Testa. Thank you for joining us today. And we are on Facebook here. Just search my name, Parker Testa, on Facebook, and you can find that. You can see my beautiful face here on Facebook. So thank you all for joining us on Facebook. We're going to get into our interview with Tom Nichols. Tom, of course, is the Director of Media Relations with the Dayton Dragons. He is the voice of the Dragons on 980 WONE AM here in Dayton. We talked a number of different things, some of his favorite moments that he's had, players he's gotten to meet and talk to over the years. So, without further ado, here's Tom Nichols. All right, welcome back to The Perspective, everybody, here on WWSU 106.9 FM. Welcoming in Mr. Tom Nichols. He's the Director of Media and Broadcasting for the Dayton Dragons and the voice of the Dragons on 980 WONE AM here in Dayton. Tom, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Parker.
All right. So I guess my first question is, I read that you were a Ball State graduate. How did you get started in radio?
Well, I wanted to get in radio from the very beginning. My high school had a radio station, and my intentions as I even started high school were to try to look for a career as a sports broadcaster. And at that time, I entered the program and went to college to be a broadcaster, and found a job that would give me some experience at a commercial radio station while I was in college, and just continued down that line. It was a long, long trip to get from point A to point B, but if you enter this business, you've got to be willing to pay your dues. And it's a lot different, of course, than it was when I was getting in back in the 1980s, but there's still some opportunities out there if for an interested person, just a little different road than the one I took.
So this is going to be your 33rd year as a broadcaster. Is there anything that you try to change or alter when it comes to your style, or is it just kind of the same routine for you?
Well, I think every year you look at anything you might be able to improve on, whether it might be topics that we discuss on radio broadcasts or segments in our pre and post game show, or maybe improving our crowd microphone to give us better field sound. Anything we could do that might make things more interesting for the listeners. You never really go into a season and say, well, I don't want to do anything better than I did last year. You look for things that you feel like as the technology changes, the world changes, what can we do a little differently than we did last year that would make things more interesting for the listeners? And so every year, I think we try to look for those types of opportunities that we might come up with.
So was there someone that was sort of a mentor to you when you were first starting out, or someone that you idolized?
Well, there are a lot of people that could fit that description. I'm not sure there'd only be one, but I can tell you the couple of people that maybe helped me the most in terms of getting into the business would be the manager of the high school station I worked at, helped me get my first job in radio after high school, which I hadn't gotten that job. Who knows if I'd ever even gotten started in radio. And he made some phone calls and found a local radio station that needed an 18-year-old kid to come in and run the board for high school football broadcasts, and that's how I got started. So that was an important step. And then in terms of getting into baseball, the longtime radio voice of the Indianapolis Indians is a gentleman by the name of Howard Kellman. And I called Howard in February of 1988 and said, I'd like to get a job in baseball, minor league baseball as a broadcaster. How do I do that? And he said, well, it's a little late this year. The season starts in April, it's February, but we do have an opening for a few games with our team. And if you want to send me a tape, I'll listen. I did that. And he called me back and he promised me one game. And I did that one game, and he gave me more games. And it eventually grew into a pretty good part-time position with that team. And I worked with him for 2 years and gave me a lot of pointers. He's still with him to this day. That was 1988. He was already a veteran at that time. He'd been with the team, I think, for about 15 years at that point. So at this time, I think he's been with that ball club since 1974, so a long time. And maybe more than anyone else, he was responsible for my opportunity to get involved in minor league baseball. And then once I left there, I had to kind of fly my own route and take it from there. And it's been a good career for me.
Where did your love for sports kind of come from? Was it something that did you play baseball as growing up, or any other sports? Where did that kind of passion come from for you?
Yeah, I played all the sports growing up: baseball, basketball, football. Big baseball fan. Listened to Reds on radio I guess the first time I listened would have probably been 1971. I was 7 years old. The broadcaster at that time for the Reds was Al Nichols. And it probably all developed out of just being the oldest child in a sports family. My dad played baseball and softball, and my mom was very supportive. And as time went along, my my siblings got involved in sports in one way or another. My brother was a great high school baseball player and a high school basketball player, and eventually went on to play college basketball. And just growing up in a sports family, and I probably was the biggest sports fan in the family. And it was an interest I developed, listened to a lot of broadcasts, not necessarily because I was listening to try to develop broadcasting skills myself. I was just a fan. I enjoyed listening. Again, at first it was Al Michaels and Joe Nuxall, and then eventually Marty Brenneman and Joe Nuxall for many, many years. And that's how I developed the interest, and it just came along step by step. And again, getting in the business, I always say the first job's always the hardest one to get. So I was fortunate. I look back on it, and I had a lot of lucky breaks along the way, and it allowed me to have a long career, and one that I enjoyed a lot.
Have you had the opportunity to broadcast sports other than baseball?
Yeah, I did a lot of other sports for a long time. I haven't for a while. I did high school and college basketball, did high school football, did one season of minor league hockey. I wasn't a hockey fan, to be honest with you, but it was, it came with the job. I took a baseball job, a AA baseball job in Mobile, Alabama, and the owner of the team also owned an East Coast Hockey League team. And they explained to me that if you want to do the baseball, you're going to have to do the hockey too. And I said, well, I don't know anything about hockey. And they said, well, you got a few months to learn. So I learned as much as I could so I wouldn't sound like someone who was completely foreign to the sport. And I got to a point where if you didn't know too much about hockey, you probably couldn't tell that I didn't know a lot about it. And it was fun. I really enjoyed the players and coaches. They were great to work with, and the fans were very passionate. I enjoyed it. It was just one season, and I've been all baseball ever since. I haven't done anything but baseball since probably the 90s, I guess. So it's been over 20 years of just baseball. I did also do a season with a NASCAR team as a media relations person. I really enjoyed that too. It was a lot of fun. Growing up in Indiana, I was a big Indy 500 IndyCar fan. Right. This was NASCAR, which wasn't necessarily my, I was more of an IndyCar fan than I was a NASCAR fan, but I really enjoyed the NASCAR part of it. But baseball's been, for me, it's been the big sport all the way. The other things have come along. And I'm a big NFL football fan, big Chicago Bears fan, but I watch all the games. I've got NFL Sunday Ticket, but baseball for me has been my livelihood.
So you're one of the few broadcasters to work at every minor league level, where if it's from low A ball to high AAA, what's the biggest difference from your eyes in the as you progress through the levels of the minor league baseball?
Good question. They all had something about them that made them special. As you move up, quite simply, the players are just older and more experienced and more polished. And I'm looking forward to this season. The Dragons will be a high A club for the first time ever after being a low A club for 20 years. And because of that, we'll have, again, a little older, more experienced, more polished players. So the games will be a little cleaner. The pitchers will be a little better, throw more strikes. Defense will be a little more polished. You won't see as many mistakes defensively. Again, the games will move along a little more smoothly because pitchers are throwing more strikes. Umpires will be a little bit better because they're more experienced too. And it's something I'm looking forward to this year a lot. I was absolutely thrilled when I heard that our league was going to move up and be a high A league for the first time in 2021. And it's something I look forward to.
What's something that comes to mind for you when you think about the memorable moments over your time as a broadcaster?
Well, there have been a lot of them. Whether you want to pick any city I've been in, I think I've been in 7 different places as a baseball broadcaster in the minor leagues. They've all had something. This place in Dayton has had many, many memorable moments. And of course, for me personally, I did get a chance to do a major league game in 2018 with Marty Brenneman and Jeff Brantley. And that was obviously very memorable after so many years of riding the buses, getting one chance to work in the major leagues for one night. And that was a great thing. But the big thing about baseball is for us, there's 140 games. This year we're playing a little shorter schedule because of COVID, 120, but 140 games. Every time you come to a game, there's a chance that night's game might be a no-hitter or a game where a player hits 4 home runs or just something that makes it historical in nature. And that's the thing about baseball. And every night's a new night. You can be on a losing streak, but the next day's a new day. You can be on a winning streak and try to maintain that kind of momentum. So for us, we've had, I think over the Dragons' history, 108 future major leaguers have come through Dayton. Many famous players like Joey Votto and Jay Bruce and Johnny Cueto and Todd Frazier, and some who got to the major leagues for just a short time. Probably the most exciting player to come through here was Billy Hamilton, who stole 103 bases in one season for us in 2011. The most exciting week or month would have been in 2017 when we had a player at that time by the name of Jose Siri who broke the 40-year-old league record for longest hitting streak, and he hit in 39 consecutive games. The record was 35, and as he got close enough to think about breaking that record, it became really, really dramatic each time he'd come to the plate, whether we were winning or losing that day. His performance kind of became the centerpiece of the game, and he eventually broke the record. And I can't think of anything that I've ever been involved with that was as dramatic and as exciting as when he broke that record. And so that was a fun time. But we also, of course, from a team standpoint, the Dragons broke the all-time record in professional sports for longest sellout streak in 2011. And that was a special night, no doubt about it. Something I'll never forget. And a lot of people here that night that were in for just that game, famous people like Magic Johnson and Archie Griffin. They were part owners of the team at that time, and a number of others also. And just a chance over the years to come to the ballpark every day and, say I'm part of a team that has been very successful in the history of minor league sports has been a thrill for me as well.
So from a fan's perspective, what is I know there's so many, I'm a baseball fan myself, but what is sort of your favorite aspect of the game, whether it's following a box score or following a player as they progress throughout their career? What, as from a fan's perspective for you, is your favorite aspect of baseball?
I'd say the strategy that comes into every game, and it's changed a lot in the last few years, of course, and maybe a lot would say, and I would agree, maybe not for the better. We've gone away from the most exciting elements, and I think there's some efforts ongoing to sort of get us back to where we were in terms of strategy, where it's become now sort of a wait for somebody to hit a home run as opposed to get on base, steal second, guy hits the ball to the right side, moves you to third, and you score on a fly ball or you bunt him over. Those things are gone from the game, really, and it's become all about the home run. And because of that, there's more strikeouts, there's fewer hits, there's more home runs. But the strategy of the game is always fun. And I think if you work in the minor leagues as a fan or as a broadcaster, there's a lot of enjoyment out of following a guy that you knew in your town as he moves on up through the ladder and eventually gets to the big leagues. And you see him get there and you say, hey, that guy we knew him when he was just a young kid and playing here and trying to improve his skills. And I enjoy following the guys all the way up through the minor leagues and hoping they can just step from single A to double A to triple A and then get to the big leagues. And it's a lot easier to do now than when I was younger, when, obviously now I can go online at any point and see how any player's doing with a couple of clicks, where, people my age or older would remember when the only access you had to statistics was the morning newspaper, which had very little, or a magazine that might come once a week and have enough statistics that were by that time probably outdated by about 2 weeks. And now you can go online and follow games pitch by pitch as they're happening. Different world now in many ways, but enjoying following those players as they climb up through the minor leagues and eventually get to the major leagues, and keep an eye on the players. I checked the box score. I mentioned Billy Hamilton a few minutes ago, and I checked this morning when I got up to see how he did last night for the White Sox, the team he's with right now, as we record this interview, see how he's doing with the White Sox on a daily basis. I still check him, and I'll do the same thing with a lot of other players that played in Dayton. And when I was in other cities, did the same thing there. So that's part of it as well. When you're in the minor leagues, you follow those guys all the way to the major leagues and even after they get there.
Well, Tom, I can't thank you enough for your time today. I really appreciate it. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Parker.
Can't thank Tom Nichols enough for his time as always. Great perspective from Tom. I completely agree with what he said when talking about baseball. It's like we've lost all the fun of baseball when it comes to scoring. Like he said, there's no like moving runners to bases. There's no scoring on fly balls. So it's really it's disappointing because baseball is such a fun sport to watch. So with that, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're talking Wright State Sports here on WWSU 106.9 FM.
This is your Wright State Pork Minute.
Here are some events happening at Wright State University from Friday, April 9th through Tuesday, April 13th. For the full details and list of events, download the Cork app for free from the Apple or Google Play Store. Indoor rock climbing wall open every weekday, 3:30 to 7:30 p.m. Friday, April 9th, sunset kayaking at Eastwood Metro Park, 6 to 8 p.m. Caution, thunderstorms are likely. Saturday, April 10th, a day in the park at Eastwood Metro Park, 2 to 4:30. Caution showers are likely. Strikeout Arthritis by Alpha Omicron Pi, 3 to 4 p.m. online. Raiderthon Drive-In Movie Inside Out in Lot 4, 6 to 11 p.m. Weekly Game Night Team Fortress 2, 8 to 9 p.m. online. Monday, April 12th, Project Linus Blanket Making at the Woods Basketball Court, 4 to 5 p.m. Biking at Alumni Tower, 6 to 7 p.m. Tuesday, April 13th, Chew on This Leadership Workshop, 12 to 1 p.m. online. Tunnel Painting, 2 to 5 p.m. Running at Alumni Tower, 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. Check back on Monday for more events happening on campus. Get out there, get involved, and Raider up.
Yeah.
In the wake of a disaster, what one thing can you send that will help people the most? A blanket, a tent, a sandbag, a doctor. Actually, if you send a monetary donation, you send all these things. Even a small donation can make a big impact and can quickly become exactly what people affected by disaster need most.
In the wake of a hurricane, your monetary donation can make a huge difference to those in need. To donate, visit supporthurricanerelief.org. That's supporthurricanerelief.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Donna from Louisiana. The storm just hit, and we went from donating to the food bank to needing it.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
To protect his family from disaster, Steve used his camera phone.
Done.
By taking pictures of his important documents, Steve can always have them stored online. Learn more simple disaster prep tips at ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
How do airplanes fly? What's in this box? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Learn how to store your gun securely and make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Dance like a dad. It's a great way to make a moment with your kids. First, I hold my hands out like they're on a steering wheel. Then I look over my shoulder. Next, I put it in reverse. Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Adopt U.S. Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Jelly. Jelly adjective. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Tom has been a teacher for over 40 years. One day, I think one of the students had asked the question and he didn't remember the answer. And I also noticed that he was letting his class out earlier than they were supposed to let out. I was really starting to worry.
Levi and I talked about how it would change our lives, but he was there beside me.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/our stories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Stony Hollow reminds us this year that texting and driving never mix. Did you know that 1 in 4 car accidents are caused by distracted driving? Stony Hollow Landfill knows that no text message is worth the risk. That's Stony Hollow Landfill on the air because they care.
Adopt U.S. Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the Lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling on it.
The dad joke. Corny, groan-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
What did the buffalo say when he dropped his son off for school? Bye, son.
So take a moment to make your kid laugh, because dad jokes rule. Make your kid laugh today. Go to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Pass it on.
Now's the time to stay apart. Social distancing. But I'm adding something else. Pull together. What's pulling together while we're staying apart? It's calling family to check in on them. It's waving to your neighbor. It's the things we should have been doing all along. And when this tragedy passes and we're able to come together, we'll be stronger than ever because we've already pulled together. Stay apart. Pull together.
Pass it on.
From passiton.com.
I asked what kind of family she wanted. She said, a family like yours.
Learn more about adopting a teen at adoptuskids.org. You can't imagine the reward. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
What can I possibly do to make this stressful time a little better? Here's one thing I found. It's a small thing, a simple thing, a remarkable thing. Smile. You can share a smile from more than 6 feet apart. You can share it socially with the whole world. In fact, right now, I'm smiling at you. And I hope you're smiling back, because smiling is in you. From passiton.com.
For those fortunate enough to help the person who has always been their hero, AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help at aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Pass it on.
This time of upheaval is causing me to look a little deeper inside myself, looking for some goodness. And this is what I've found. I'm more aware of my neighbor's well-being. I'm saying thanks to those who help keep my life as normal as possible. My mail carrier, my grocery cashier, my delivery person. I find myself caring about others instead of just looking out for myself. And oh, my goodness, does it feel good. Goodness is in you.
Pass it on.
From passiton.com.
If you love them enough to listen to them practice the same song on tuba,
Please be done.
over and over and over and over and over, then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're correctly buckled in the back seat.
Sounds good, honey.
Check today at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
To some, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much, but that's not true. They're testing out vowels and consonants and trying different sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on meaning, especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Learn more at autismspeaks.org. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Hi, my name is Hallie Rains. I am a communications major here at Wright State, and you're listening to WWSU 106.9, Dayton's Right Choice.
Welcome back to The Perspective, everybody. Here on WWSU 106.9, it's Friday. The weather's nice outside. Let's have a great day here today. Why not? We're almost done with the semester here, so let's have a good time here today. I'd like to think we're having a good time so far today. I think we are. I know I am. Thank you to all of you who are watching on Facebook. We will be on YouTube next week. YouTube has this dumb rule where you have to go through all this setup process, and I did not have time to do that today. So we are on Facebook today. We will be on YouTube next week. But to wrap up the show here today, we are going to get into some Wright State sports, starting with golf. The Flyer Invitational will be on Monday and Tuesday, this coming Monday, Tuesday, 12th and the 13th, here in Dayton. It'll be hosted by the Dayton Flyers. So, and then I believe a week later, they'll have the Wright State Invitational at Heatherwood Golf Club here in the Dayton area. So good luck to Coach Arlinghouse and the Wright State Raider Wright State Raider golf team. So good luck to them. I don't think they'll need it because they're one of the very good teams here on the campus of Wright State. But good luck to Coach Arlinghouse and the golf team. Women's soccer, they took a loss 2-0 this past Monday, April 5th. And that drops them out of the Horizon League tournament, so they will not participate in the Horizon League tournament. Congratulations to the Wright State women's soccer team. They had a great season. I'm looking for them to come back and be very good next year. I think I'm confident enough that they will be able to do that. Men's soccer, they're in the Horizon League Championship. Oakland had to withdraw due to COVID regulations in that program. So Wright State was the 5 seed. They were originally going to miss the Horizon League Championship, but since Oakland withdrew, Wright State moves into the 4 seed. They will travel to Highland Heights to play the number 1 seed in Northern Kentucky at 5 p.m. on Sunday, April 11th. So good luck to Coach Slemker and the men's soccer team there. Women's volleyball, how about them? Undefeated in Horizon League play. They beat the UIC Flames in the Horizon League Championship last Saturday. 5-set thriller there. It was, and Wright State pulls it out 3-2. They are the Horizon League champions. Congratulations to Coach Matters, Coach O'Keefe, and the entire program that is Wright State volleyball. They had a heck of a season. Getting to go out to McLean and watch those matches was a lot of fun this season. I can't wait for that to happen again next year. They go undefeated in the Horizon League play, like I said. They will travel to Omaha, Nebraska to take on Sanford Wednesday, April 14th at 7 p.m. That is in Omaha, like I said. So as far as baseball goes, unfortunately, their series with, I believe it was Oakland, their series with, Purdue-Fort Wayne. Their series with Purdue-Fort Wayne. Originally, the Mastodons were scheduled to come here to Nichols to play the Raiders, but due to COVID regulations inside the Purdue-Fort Wayne program, that series is canceled, as well as COVID has canceled the season the following weekend, the 16th and 17th and 18th with Oakland. They also have COVID, so we will not see the Raider gang for the next 2 weeks, I think. So, but according to the press release from Wright State Athletics, the baseball team is actively looking for an opponent to play this weekend. So stay tuned for that. You can catch up with everything with Wright State baseball and the entire Wright State program on their website. So be sure to stay tuned for that. There's so much action in sports going on over the next couple weeks. We're going to try to, we got a couple more shows left. We're going to try to put together a draft special here on The Perspective for our last week of the show. So stay tuned for that. Details are still being worked out, but we are trying to get that done for you all. The NFL draft is always an exciting time for football fans. I think my favorite part of the draft, honestly, is when Roger Goodell comes out to open the draft and you just hear everybody in the crowd just the booze rained down, and no one likes Roger Goodell, but he's not the worst commissioner in professional sports. I think we've already established that here today, and that is, in fact, Rob Clownford of Major League Baseball. Ugh. I don't want to kind of touch on two topics in the same show, but I feel like this is such a worthy topic to just complain about over and over and over again. And so I could go down the list and just name dumb things that Rob Manfred has done throughout his tenure as commissioner of Major League Baseball. One of the and the one that really comes into to effect for me this year, that really everybody wanted, was the universal DH. I mean, no one. I mean, I love baseball more than most, I would say. I'm a big baseball fan, but no one wants to see Clayton Kershaw get up there and hit. Nobody. I'm sorry. There's nobody that wants to see. I mean, the only pitcher who is entertaining to watch hit is Michael Lorenzen and Shohei Ohtani. But Ohtani's not even in the National League. I mean, it's insane. I mean, it's the University DH was a lot of fun to watch last year, and it's just sad that Rob Manfred didn't want to implement it full time, because, I mean, there's so many talented bench players on all of these major league teams that only get a chance to play maybe every 3 or 4 days, if that, and it's just something that everybody wanted to see. I don't mind the 7-inning doubleheader rule. It doesn't bother me. Baseball games are long. Very, very few people sit and watch an entire baseball game from first pitch to final out. Even myself. I mean, I don't want to sit there for 3 hours and watch a full baseball game unless it's the World Series. So it's, I don't know. I mean, and the rule that's the most stupid that Manfred decided to implement this year is that that extra innings runner on second base rule. Are you kidding me? No, that's not real baseball. Because if you get up there in extra innings and the first batter in the lineup pokes one through the infield and you got a fast runner like Byron Buxton on second base, he's scoring. And then most of the time the team doesn't even get a chance to come back and try to establish a run and try to get themselves back into the game. I mean, it's not even, it's really not fair. I hate to be that person to go, it's not fair, but it's really not. It's you don't want to. I mean, it's not fun to see second base runners unless you worked for it. The way you put a runner on second base is you either hit a double, hit a single and you steal a base, or you walk and you steal a base. It's that simple. I mean, okay. So I think this was on Tuesday or Wednesday night. I was sitting there watching Angels Astros in they were playing in Anaheim. It was late. It was extra innings. I believe it was the bottom of the 11th, and the Angels were up, and Albert Pujols hits a bloop single past the second baseman, and he's on first. And then Ohtani comes up and gets hit by a pitch. And then I believe Mike Trout comes up and hits a double, or not a double. He hit a single, so bases are loaded there. And then I think it was it's going to space my mind. One of the it was David Fletcher. David Fletcher he hit a double and they score 2 runs. Now they're up 6-5, and I think the next guy walked. They're up 7-5, and then they got the final out or 2 outs or whatever it was. But that's how baseball is supposed to be. That's how baseball is supposed to be. You don't sit around and watch Aroldis Chapman throw 115 miles an hour or whatever he throws now. You don't. I mean, yeah, that's fun to watch, but what's more fun to watch? A nasty curveball that sinks off the plate. A changeup that starts high and just falls off the table. People get excited for things like that. I get excited for things like that, and It's what baseball's not. Baseball is moving further and further away from that, and it's sad to see that. And when it comes to batters, launch angle, everyone's talking about launch angle. Hell, I think some of these I think the Texas Rangers built their new ballpark. I think they extended the fences just to account for the fact that more players are hitting home runs. I mean, it's upsetting. It's all about exit velocity and launch angle. Guys are changing their swings in order to get more launch angle, and it's unfortunate because what's the fun part of baseball is watching teams work for it. Strategy, like Tom Nichols said, the fun part of baseball, and I think the most fun part of baseball to watch, is the strategy that goes into the game. Whether it's managing your bullpen, pinch runs, substitute hitters, pinch hitting, whatever it may be. Strategy is the name of the game in baseball. Speaking of baseball, my Dodgers are getting their World Series rings today. Shay Neal just showed me a picture of the ring ceremony. I'll have to go watch that. Go back and watch that later. But the Dodgers, my Dodgers, are World Series champions. It makes me happy to say that. It makes me just as happy to say the Dodgers are World Series champions. Just as happy when the New York Yankees lose. I would match that excitement to both of those statements. And one of our Facebook comments: hit for average and move the runners. Exactly. That's how baseball is supposed to work. I mean, the best baseball batting average I think ever in a season is Ted Williams, who hit .406. That's what baseball is supposed to be. You're supposed to get contact, swing for contact. Don't swing for power. Swing for power in certain situations, but swing for contact. Contact is the name of the game in baseball. Strategy is the name of the game in baseball. So that's my 2 cents. I know none of you care about my 2 cents, but that's my 2 cents. So with that, we're going to wrap up our show here this week. Thank you to all of you for listening here on WWSU 106.9. Thank you for all of you listening on Facebook. It was a blast to put together this little screen here I have on Facebook. So thank you to all of you for listening. With that, I'm going to leave you just like I did last week. Get out, watch some baseball, watch the Masters. It's good for you. We'll talk to you, everybody, next week here on The Perspective. WWSU 106.9, Dayton's Right Choice.